A migrant nurse wins a legal victory over a UK firm that could cost it £13,000. We're going to read into this exclusive from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an exclusive from The Guardian with the headline that a migrant nurse wins a legal victory over a UK firm that could cost it £13,000. The exclusive says vital reconciliation of migrant care workers' plights may pave the way for more cases, says a union leader. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So I've talked in the past about the about workers' rights and about how important it is to try how important it is we must protect workers' rights in this UK, because we do feel that the Conservatives have eroded those rights over time. However, some of those rights that we still have been massive difference for those rights that we have here have played a fundamental part in protecting people, and especially in this case here. This is someone here who came to the UK with the intention of working and contributing and playing their part in society here. And instead of being promised work, they've been kind of left onto the shelves here. And this legal victory here could unleash quite a lot more cases for a future potential Labour government to deal with. Without a doubt, this has significance. And I think we should be paying very close attention to it. So let's read a bit more into this exclusive that The Guardian has here and try to get our heads around this a lot more. So, a migrant nurse could be eligible for a significant payout from a British healthcare company after an employment judge ruled that he was likely to win his case for unfair dismissal in a judgment that could pave the way for dozens of other such cases. Natasha Joffe, an employment judge, ruled that the Clinica Private Healthcare, a London-based healthcare provider that may have to pay Kirankumar Rathod $13,000 in unpaid wages after it dismissed him in 2023. Rathod was dismissed after raising concerns about the lack of work being offered to him and other colleagues who had also migrated to the UK on the promise of full-time employment. Now, I think this is a really quite important question here. So they migrated to the UK on the promise of full-time employment. Now, is this from this healthcare provider specifically, or by another organisation? I think that's a good question. Now, if this healthcare promised them full-time work and have not promised them full-time work, despite the fact that they've come here being told that they would be promised full-time work, this is justified. So, yeah, you basically, if you're not giving them full-time work when you're promising full-time work, basically you're false advertising. Basically, is what you're doing. Campaigners hope that the interim decision will prompt hundreds of others to come forward. After The Guardian revealed widespread allegations of worker exploitation in the sector earlier this month, a final ruling on the case is expected later this year. So there's still a final ruling there. Interesting. So Minia Bold, the head of employment at the Works Rights Centre, which represented Rathod, said, "This is a highly significant judgment. It is the first time that a care worker has run this type of relief in principle." Nicola Ranger, the acting head of the Royal College of Nursing, said, "This is a vital victory for migrant health workers." She added, "This case is not the end of the matter because we know that exploitation is widespread across social care. Migrant care workers desperately need the next government to launch an urgent investigation and take action to ensure labour standards are upheld." Rathod's case echoed dozens of others uncovered by The Guardian early this month. More than 30 migrants told the newspaper they had paid up to £20,000 to immigration agents, and sometimes employers themselves, to secure job offers only to find little or no work when they arrive. Many took on higher levels of debt to secure the jobs. They are now living in poverty in Britain, unable to secure regular work and unwilling to work to return home for fear of not being able to pay their debts. Yeah, this is the thing. They've been put into debts. So how are they supposed to return home when they've got massive debts on them as well? It's just not right. So since The Guardian uncovered the practice, Labour Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper promised that her party would launch an investigation into the treatment of migrant care workers if it won next week's election. It'll be this week by the time you guys see this. I just said it first came to the country in 2023, having paid £22,000 to an immigration agent in India to obtain visa and employment. He was then given a certificate of sponsorship from Clinica, which said it would be a care assistant, working 39 hours a week for just over £23,000 a year. Having arrived in Britain, Rashid completed an induction course and 3 days of training and subsequently given no work. According to the tribunal documents, he queried why he was not being offered shifts and was told it has been very difficult to find appropriate shifts for you on all the care homes in which come with long hours per shift, as majority of you want it. Ratcher said he phoned his employer in November 2023 to protest once again and not being given work, and threatened to take legal action against them. The next day he received a notice of termination, which said he was being dismissed due to his failure to take heed of several verbal warnings, penetrating to insubordinate tolerance towards the employer and dire company. But you haven't even given him work. The case is ongoing, by an interim ruling earlier this month, Jolly found that Raji would possibly win his case of unfair dismissal, and so should be paid all the unpaid wages between the date of his termination and the end of the case, which would amount to at least £13,000 and possibly far more depending on how long the case lasts. If he paid £22,000 to an immigration agent in Egypt to attain a visa and employment, they should cover that cost too. Jolf ruled the apparent irregularities in which the way the claimant and other employees were treated in relation to their employment contract and significant sponsorship tending to suggest that there was something wary about the way in which the first sponsorship was running its business, which would not welcome having light shone onto. She added that the contract offered a job which did not materialise, and the subsequent behaviour of the respondents suggested the claimant and others were being strung along. Clinica did not respond to requests for comment. Yeah, I wonder why. During the legal proceedings, the firm told the court that it would not be able to pay Raji's unpaid wages because it had since lost its license to sponsor migrant workers, and so paying such workers would be illegal. The judge ruled on the subsequent hearing at the end of July, with the final ruling expected to take several months longer. Lawyers said that even the decision to grant interim relief in principle is a major victory for others who found themselves in similar positions. Jamilia Duncan Bruscu, a solicitor at the Anti-Trafficker and Labour Exploration Unit, said, "This is a very interesting and welcome judgment. Hopefully it's the beginning of the tide turning, and that more workers will be in a position to come forward after this." This is an interesting to say the least. So I think I covered a similar story about some of the cases, about how some of them are being about how some of the documents and whatnot that they've obtained. There have been other migrants who have obtained fast track document cases to come to the UK to work, even though they haven't had the full training. There have been some of those stories as well. But this one here obviously seemed pretty legitimate, that this person obviously was promised work and not given any work at all. Now remember, we are a country that's struggling with workers right now. It's very important to remind ourselves of that. And he wasn't given any work at all. He wanted to, work and contribute. And instead of being worked and contributed, he was kind of shunned. And when he tried to speak up about it, they basically terminated his contract, which is just like absolute taking the mick, because he's literally paid out of his own money to obtain a visa and employment. Was told that he would be working 39 hours a week for over just £23,000. And he's not been given anything. Nothing at all. Like, how? This is definitely a scam thing, because what's the point of bringing in legal migrant workers, to come and work in your department or sector, and you're not even going to give them the work? Like, what's the point of bringing them over? Like, it's just stupid. So, obviously, if there are other cases like that, these companies behind them need to pay for the consequences. So, but it's an ongoing case. I don't think it's there are some ongoing cases here that are still taking place, but I think we will hear more about this as time passes on, because this is not the first time we've talked about this as well. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this migrant nurse winning a legal victory? And it could cost the firm £13,000. Better than coming out of taxpayer pocket, that's for sure. But let me know how you feel about this and more in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.